Welcome to All Bodies on Bikes, the podcast, where all bodies are good bodies, all bikes are good bikes, and all rides are celebrated.
All Bodies on Bikes is a movement to create and foster a radically inclusive bike community. So join your hosts, I'm Ellen,
And I'm Marley.
as we explore the complexities of the biking world. Help us break down barriers and create the world that we want to see.
And don't forget that all bodies really means all bodies, not just larger bodies, but bodies of all sizes,
Ages,
races,
abilities,
genders,
sexualities.
and beyond. Come along for the ride.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm
You look-
festived out. Happy belated Hanukkah, by the way. We are recording
Thank
this
you.
after the 8th day of Hanukkah.
It went so fast this year. My favorite years are the ones when it overlaps with Christmas.
Oh, you do like when it overlaps?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Did you ever watch the OC back in high school?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, they quote unquote invented Christmaka, where this
Oh.
half Jewish, half Christian family would do Christmas and Hanukkah. And I'm like, yo, we've been doing this forever. Like, you did not invent anything. But it was legitimizing to see it
For
in
sure.
Hollywood. So
Right, exactly. It's always nice to see it represented, which is
yeah. Yeah. And
exactly what
I
we're
have a
about.
Christmas tree up.
We wanted to have a little recap of 2025. We had some really, really incredible episodes this year.
I am so grateful you made that list, because as I was thinking back, it turns out I have the memory of a goldfish. And I was like, we didn't do any podcasts this year. Oh, no, we did.
Well, I mean, it could also be that 2025 was the longest year in modern history.
Yeah.
Ever recorded.
Yeah.
It
But
feels so long.
in so many ways, and this is something I've been struggling with. It has been probably my best year as a professional, as an influencer, as a nonprofit. I'm having a really good year, and so it's really hard to balance all the awful in the world with personal success.
Boy, I feel that a lot. It definitely feels like a two things can be true sort of
Yeah.
year. I was laid off in May, but that meant that I got to focus on building the bike community, making the bike buses. But the macro is a difficult one if you're a progressive person who loves humans.
It's a really good way to put that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot. We
Yeah.
wanted to kind of celebrate. We've had some really, really good and important conversations in 2025 with some really great
Yes.
guests and just with you and me. So we wanted to highlight a few of those. What was your favorite memory?
Oh gosh, I don't think I can narrow it down to one,
Okay.
but Emily Chappell.
Yes.
That was just such a delightful conversation.
Yes. I
She
fangirled so hard. You had
it
to rein me in ahead of that episode.
It was really cute, because usually I'm on the other side of that where people are fangirling me. But I think she really appreciated it. It's funny how the social media algorithms work, and it's after we had that conversation with her, now her content pops up
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time in my feed, and she is just always on the most fun adventures. She takes the train halfway across the country and then rides back. And granted, she's in
The
England.
UK.
She's in
Yeah.
the UK.
Very much a thing you can do in the UK is take the train out and then ride back because
Yeah.
the UK is smaller than the state of Missouri. So you are not wrong that she's riding across the country, but we need some context here
Exactly.
for
But
our
yeah.
American viewers.
Yeah, so that was definitely a highlight for me, and just reminded me about the joy of long distance bike travel.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of that in a while, probably honestly since the pandemic and since dogs. It frees me up to do long distance bike travel again, which I'm
Yeah.
excited about.
But the e-bike has really opened that back up for her because she can go on a longer trip. And if she realizes that she doesn't have the stamina that she thought she did at the beginning of the trip, she can still get home.
I love that.
She was my top episode as well, mainly because everything that All Bodies is trying to do was summed up in that conversation.
Yes.
Very much saying your body is a good body. You can ride a bike. You can do everything you want to do. Here we go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that. I will say, though, the one that left the most impact with me was the Gaza Sunbirds episode. It was very impactful, very humbling, and what's another word for this? I think eye-opening, even though I think that I'm following the news coming out of Gaza. It wasn't really tangible until we talked with Gaza Sunbirds.
Yeah. Yeah, that was quite the episode, and just it really put things into perspective for me. I think I've got problems, like, oh, I need to get my oil changed. But hearing what they're going through, even just getting equipment. These are folks who are trying to train and ride at a professional level. And even getting things like shoes is
Mhm.
impossible because of the blockade, let alone food. I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the basics of daily life, like necessities, food, shelter, medicine, all those things they can't get in. And then they have this passion that they love of cycling, and it's really helped bring them some joy. And yeah, that episode, I go back and listen to it, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, same. What it did for me too is put some humanity back into this. I think it's really easy for someone to say, why would they be focusing on having a professional cycling team when their country is in tatters? And that was the one of the important takeaways for me is that that is important. It is raising awareness. It is trying to get more eyes on this conflict that needs to end.
Yeah.
These are still humans. There are still important things that they are doing, and it doesn't all have to revolve around it the way that you expect it to.
And just because the leaders of the country are at war does not mean the people don't deserve to live full, enriching lives doing hobbies that they like. One of the things that stood out to me was kind of their pivot from like training for the big events to using bikes as mutual aid and delivering supplies to these different displacement camps. Just the reality check of what
Mhm.
folks are going through across the world, largely impacted by things our own government is doing
Yep.
and is complicit in.
Yeah. So we will also drop another link in our comments about how to donate to Gaza Sunbirds if that's something you
Yes.
feel like you could have an impact on in the end of the year going into 2026.
Yeah. Another one of my favorites was talking with the Radical Adventure Riders crew.
Yes.
They're similar to All Bodies on Bikes in a lot of ways, centering joy, centering resistance, but just how successful they've been, in like their gear lending library and just the different approach that they've taken to community building. We as an organization have learned a ton from Radical Adventure Riders. That's actually where we got our start, was at one of their summits many years ago. Yeah, it's actually where Kaylee and I met in person for the first time. We presented Fat Cyclist for the very first time. That's what we called it at the time, was Fat Cyclist or Fat Riding or something.
Yeah.
But that's really what kicked off All Bodies on Bikes.
So we owe them a lot.
We
We
do
say
owe
a
them a lot.
huge thank you to Radical Adventure Riders.
Yeah. I'm really excited because I live in a place now where there is a Radical Adventure Riders chapter, and I have joined their Slack, and I'm really looking forward to getting on a ride with them because, yes, I organize rides all the time and I go on my own rides, but sometimes it's nice just to join a ride that you haven't planned and you just get
Yeah.
to be along for the ride.
That is such a good point, and it is something that we talked about segue on the episode that we had with Eli and Jacob, two of
Oh,
our
yeah.
incredible All Bodies on Bikes leaders, is that there's like so much responsibility. There's so much that needs to go into planning a ride. We had a whole episode talking about how to make your rides really purposefully inclusive.
Yeah.
But at the end, all of us were just kind of like, boy, wouldn't it be nice if we could just ride our bikes? So
And
there's always like everything in balance.
yes, yeah, and truly, like, when we all get together and we can just, like, be and ride our bikes, like, all the ethos of those inclusive rides comes out, we're checking on each other, we're taking
Sure.
breaks, but it's just a feeling of freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it allows you to be part of the community.
I think people
So
are a little intimidated to, like, ride at the front with the group leader, and I'm like, "Somebody come ride with me, please." But, back to like, how to actually lead an inclusive ride
yeah,
with Eli and Jacob, we got some fun comments on Spotify about that,
tell me more.
which, shout out, you can leave us comments on the show and we will read them and we'll probably talk about them.
Yeah,
Also, we have video now, so you can see Ellen's amazing earrings and my ridiculous hat.
I
So you should go watch us on Spotify.
thank you for shouting out my earrings.
They're so cool.
I only have 2 pairs of Christmas earrings because 'cause I'm a little grinchy most of the time. But for this week, which we're recording this only a few days before Christmas, my
Yeah.
go-to.
Anyway, back to the thing I was gonna say
Whoop,
is
whoop.
one of the comments was, "Thanks for talking about how to actually talk about pronouns." I think for a lot of folks, like, they hear, like, "Oh, you should introduce yourself with your pronouns," but if you've never actually been modeled how to do that,
Yes.
it can be really intimidating, and,
Yes.
like, you strive to be inclusive, but Eli and Jacob in this episode really break it down into a very approachable, normalized way of, like, here's how to give a pre-ride talk.
Mhm.
Here's what language you need to include on your ride post, and it's just, like, a really good class in how to lead an actually inclusive ride. We actually have a lot of new chapter leaders. And so we're doing a training, and part of their homework is to listen to that episode.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Thanks.
We'll inspire more inclusive rides all across the country, maybe even the world.
I hope so. Hey, Ellen, quick pause on the thing we're actually talking about to talk about something that's really, really important. Did you know that All Bodies on Bikes podcast is actually part of the All Bodies on Bikes nonprofit?
Are you saying that everything we do is about making the cycling world more inclusive and more welcoming for everybody?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And one of the best ways to support that work is by becoming a member. We have individual memberships, we've got bike shop memberships, we've got industry memberships, we've got it all.
Any membership helps fund inclusive events, education, and advocacy, and it keeps this podcast going. Plus, members get some pretty great perks like exclusive swag, industry discounts, and more.
So, if this community means something to you, which we really hope it does, we would love to have you join us as members.
You can learn more, and you can join us at allbodiesonbikes.com. And now, back to the episode. What were we even saying? We had 3 other episodes that we were going to talk about. We talked with Shredly founder Ashley,
Yes.
and we talked about Mid South, not Unbound, which I have written many times
I think
in my notes.
I think we also talked about Unbound at some point.
Maybe we did. Did you ride
I
Did you
I
ride Midbound? Jesus.
I did ride Unbound this year. I did the 100, and I think we talked about how different it
Yeah.
was having actually trained.
Yes, we did. And
Yeah.
I wanted to that was another thing I wanted to re-bring up in 2026 is how you feel you actually trained for that ride, which you somewhat famously don't always do.
Right.
Now you are training also in the gym. You are getting stronger along with getting better on a bike. So
I
that is
am.
something I want to talk to you about in 2026.
Why am I lifting heavy things and putting them back down
Yeah.
repeatedly?
I love your Everfit app because it says like you lifted a manatee today.
I know, it's so cu it makes it feel real. So, one of my other favorite episodes was cycling with a uterus, talking
Same.
about bleeding while riding a bike, and you know what's funny is that I think we recorded that before I went to France. When I was climbing Mount Ventoux, which is one of the most storied climbs in cycling history, we got up to the chalet, and the chalet is like, I don't know, a couple kilometers before the very top, but a lot of folks stop there. I went into the bathroom and I was full on my period.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. Which,
Cool.
like we talked about, totally
Yeah.
fine because chamois are quite absorbent.
Yeah.
But I was like, I am doing the biggest bike ride of my life, probably ever. This huge climb, and I was like, and I'm doing it while profusely bleeding out of my uterus.
Yes. I remember one of your lines is anything you can do, I can do bleeding. And it
Yep.
does stick with me. It just gets me through some months.
Even if all I'm doing is going to the grocery store, I, like, look around and I'm like, "You're probably not bleeding. You're probably not bleeding. You might be bleeding."
Ilona Maher also
Yes.
did, I think it's the Sports Illustrated swimsuit runway show.
I
And
remember
then
hearing about this.
afterwards, she's like, "Yeah, I was on my period the whole time.
Yeah, and
If
she
I
was in
can
a
do it, you can do it."
very skimpy swimsuit.
I barely go out of the house on my period.
Yeah. I
So
just don't ever wear white.
right.
Like,
And actually, that reminds me, I'm mildly obsessed with Dancing with the Stars, and last year, another one of the contestants, Brooks Nader, who I think is maybe just a model. I don't know why she's famous, but she went to Wimbledon, where you traditionally wear white, but her period started unexpectedly, and she just had like the most iconic sort of like this is the period blood that like if it starts and you were sitting down, that's just the stain that you have. And so she stood up and like shared that on Instagram, and I had never felt so normalized. It's like
yeah.
this incredibly like svelte woman has the exact same stain that I would have had if that happened to me.
Wow, if you can find that Instagram post, will you send it to me and
Yeah.
put it in the link? Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would heal something inside of me.
Yes. That's what it was. It was like identical to what I remember seeing over and over and being embarrassed by in like middle high school
Yeah.
when we were learning all about it.
Yeah, I remember being embarrassed to, like, have the sound of my pad unwrapping.
Same.
And, like, I have so much empathy and heart for baby Marley,
Yes.
who was, like, nervous about that.
Mhm.
I don't know about when we talked about cycling with a uterus, did I tell you about the first time I ever used a tampon?
Ooh, I don't.
Okay, so it was, like, one of the cardboard applicators, and I didn't know that
Oh,
you were supposed to, like, push it out of the applicator, and so I put it in with the cardboard in, and it was, like,
I
so deeply uncomfortable that I like swore off using tampons ever again. And I probably didn't use them for another 2 years because I was just like, this doesn't work for me because I put it in with the cardboard in.
I think I did that same thing. I didn't know that either, I think until right now, but thank God for plastic applicators, I guess, like,
Yeah.
give or take the climate issue, but yeah, no. These are the important things we should talk about. Anybody listening who's sitting here like, "Oh, I didn't know that either." Whew, fix it.
Yeah.
You don't have to live this way.
Wait, back to Shredley.
Yeah. Speaking
Um,
of leading into chamois.
I loved that conversation with Ashley
Yeah.
because she was like super honest about the economics
Mhm.
of having extended sizes. And she talked about how, it might not necessarily pencil out on the math to have every single style in every single size, but that's a commitment that she's made.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why I'm partnering with her. Like,
Absolutely.
phenomenal.
And such a for me at least, like, such a vote of non-capitalist confidence.
Yeah.
I am choosing this because it's the right thing for the most people and
Yeah.
not because it makes financial sense, which ultimately, though, does make financial sense because now we're big super fans
Exactly.
and we wanna go
Big
back
super
to that
fans of
brand.
Shredley, and I hope introduced a lot of people to the brand. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Shredley is my apparel sponsor in full disclosure, but they make almost everything in sizes 0 through 24.
Yep.
And they've got some really cool new stuff coming out that I got to test last week. So cycling tights, so bib tights, but for the
Nice.
winter. So like fleece lined, long pants. They are chef's kiss, so good.
That
And
sounds great.
they have the drop tail, so that
Mm.
you can pee in them without disrobing everything.
That is an oddly great segue of saying that our next episode is going to be all about bike clothes.
Let's close this out with, do you have any personal favorite moments from 2025, bike related or not?
I do, and it is bike related. There was a moment when we were in Malmö, Sweden. We had borrowed a front bucket cargo bike, and I was riding that bike, and in the bucket is my child and one of my besties. We had just gone swimming in the sea. We had just bought ice cream. And so I am like riding along in the sunshine with these two favorite people in the bucket with ice cream. And it was just this perfect, like idyllic moment.
Oh,
And
I
that,
love that.
thank you. I go back to that moment in my head a lot.
I love that.
What
Oh,
about you?
it's hard to narrow it down. It was an epic year. I would say probably riding across the finish line of the Tour de France Femmes
Oh my gosh, yes.
was really cool. Even though like I'm not a huge bike racing fan, just to like feel the energy and for people listening, I obviously didn't race in the Tour de France Femmes, but I was on a tour with EF Adventures, and we got to ride like the last 25 kilometers or whatever it was. We got to do it 2 days in a row, which was super cool because all these fans are like lining up alongside, and they were mountain stages both days, um, and it was just so cool. So that was
That's
one. Finishing Unbound is always a highlight
yeah.
because you just live a whole day when you're out there riding 100 miles. It's like you go through highs and lows and good and bad. And then I think moving to Portland was a highlight. I got to do some really, really fun group rides, which I'm really looking forward to for next year. Portland just has an incredible cycling scene that I am so excited to dive into and just learn about.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
so excited for you. All 3 excellent things. Very iconic bike things, I think. Tour de Femmes, iconic. Unbound, iconic. Portland, iconic.
iconic.
Well, happy 2025. Here's cheersing to 2026, where we will
Cheers.
see everybody in a week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ellen.
Bye.
Bye.